coalition might be headed for collapse. This after the Azimio coalition turned down an invitation for a meeting called from the Kenya Kwanza George Muragara, seeking to iron out their differences. Now, according to the Azimio co-chair Otiende Amolo, there is no need for talks if the Kenya Kwanza team is not prepared to concede on some of their requests, including the lowering of cost of basic commodities and interference of political parties. And as our senior political reporter Chris Thairu explains, the 14-day ultimatum given by Azimio leader Raila Odinga is fast lapsing.
48 hours since the suspension of the bipartisan talks by the Azimio coalition team, citing lack of seriousness on the part of their Kenya Kwanza colleagues, the group is still adamant and not ready to play ball.
How many are we?
The Kenya Kwanza team, led by the co-chair George Muragara, today came out and invited Otiende Amolo team for Monday talks, saying contrary to belief, their side is fully committed to resolve the dispute.
As the Kenya Kwanza side of the coalition, that we are always ready for these talks. The talks can resume as early as tomorrow, next week, or whenever we are informed by the other side that they are ready to resume.
One of the demands by Azimio coalition was seeking to stop Kenya Kwanza from interfering with any political party affiliated to Azimio coalition. The case in point being Jubilee Party, which is currently staring at a split due to infighting between two factions. The Kenya Kwanza administration is being accused of funding trouble by supporting the Kanini Kega team.
As to members going to State House or going anywhere else, it's their freedom. They are free to associate in whichever manner they feel is appropriate. And for Kenya Kwanza, for Azimio, we will only tell them if there are their own internal disputes, they settle those disputes themselves internally in accordance with their instruments and in accordance with the law. Really, we cannot be accused, although we cannot stop them from accusing, but we do not admit any of that.
Moments after the presser, the Azimio co-chair Otiende Amolo released a statement to the media, stating that as Azimio, they will not be accepting any invitation to any meeting if the Kenya Kwanza team is not prepared to concede to their request. Another request by Azimio was the cost of living and opening of the IEBC servers.
We would persuade our principals to cease any form of mandamano as long as the talks were on, and we made that offer. We also indicated that we would talk to our principals and we would persuade them and ourselves to cease any talk that would undermine these bipartisan talks. We were willing to concede to those two. They were not willing to concede to any in terms of our request.
It is not even in good faith to start with one demand after another demand and with ultimatums in between, that if you don't do this, we will halt the talks, we will suspend the talks, we will actually cancel the talks.
In our opinion, refusal to concede to any of these interim measures, which look logical to us, means then that we have irreconcilable difference on a fundamental issue.
And with the standoff persisting, the Azimio Brigade will on Friday retreat to Yatta Farm on the invitation of Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, where they expected to give their supporters on the next course of action after the suspension of the talks. The Azimio team is also expected to hold a parliamentary group meeting on Tuesday next week. One of the main threats by Azimio is to go back to the streets for weekly demos. Chris Thairu, KTN News, Nairobi.
Let's now move to a similar story. Now, the